Patterson, oh, it's 1-0 Blues! What a header that is! Christian Patterson with a bullet header.
It's then floated towards the back post, Jutkiewicz in there, Jutkiewicz! Oh, what a header! This man is on red-hot form at St Andrews at the moment.
And it goes again towards the towering Zigic. Oh, confusion at Martins has surely scored the winning goal for Birmingham City.
Hello and welcome to the Blues Talk podcast, the first of the new season. Callum Denning and Dale Moon somehow still here with plenty to fit in the first edition. We've got signings, we've got a new system, we've got a strong start, and we have things that don't start with S, including a record-breaking visit to Portsmouth, the man of the moment, Lukas Jutkiewicz, and a trip to the East Midlands this weekend. It's all on the way here on Blues Talk.
The Blues Talk podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
Right, Dale, we're back. The first of a new season.
Come
Somehow,
on!
we're still going strong.
Come on!
Excited?
Very excited, mate. It's good to be back. Glad that the games are here. I settled into a bit of a rhythm now of Tuesday, Saturdays, press conferences, training. So no, really looking forward to the season now, and having seen the first two games, there's lots to be encouraged by.
Tell you what, it's like riding a bike, innit? We've had a long summer of being sat around twiddling our thumbs. Had a bit in pre-season, almost got back into the routine, but now football is back. As you said, a strong start. We've already done one London ground. Our last ever visit to Griffin Park, done. Came away with the 3 points.
Yep.
We've had our first home game, a good draw against a strong Bristol City team. We'll touch on all of this later. And we've had a record broken at Portsmouth in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, when you consider we're only a couple of weeks in, lots has actually happened.
It's crazy, isn't it?
New additions, results, like you say, the fact that Jude Bellingham then broke Trevor Francis's record, and so lots for us to talk about. It's kept us pretty busy as a media team, and obviously now a trip to the City ground, and one of my favourite places to go this Saturday. It's now really glad that that the season's back. I'm really excited for it. And lots of unknowns about us as a club as well now this season.
That's what we love.
Exactly. So I think it keeps that excitement of not quite knowing what we're going to get from Blues. But I think we've seen glimpses of what we can expect.
Tell you what, there have been good glimpses as well. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But also you mentioned being kept busy as a media team. Let's go through the list. No order in particular. Crowley, Sunjic, Villalba, Jimenez, Montero, Medina, Guzman, Gardner. It's been a revolving door almost here. That many new signings. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. Started off, didn't it? I mean, you look at some of them, obviously a few of those signings were the big headline marquee signings. Even Sunjic, the signing that I think captured a lot of people's attention and imagination.
It's happening.
Yeah. So that was a good one to be involved in, and we obviously went behind the scenes of his medical. And I think he was one that I think supporters stood up and sat up and thought, oh, okay, we're having a little go here. And then I think from Fran Villalba's performance against Bristol City, there's certainly a major signing in little Fran as well. So I think the one or two teams will be looking at Blues now as a very different prospect. They're going to have to do their homework on us again, because it's not the same Blues of old. We know it's a work in progress. We know it's going to take time, and there will be days where it don't quite click. But I think everyone left from the Bristol City game in particular. I know Brentford was a little bit different, but I think everyone left St Andrews entertained and excited for what could happen. I think if we get it right and we click on our day, we could potentially blow one or two teams away this year.
Tell you what excites me, you touched on it a little bit there, we're a bit of an unknown quantity for teams now. Because there could be teams that come here, obviously they'll have done their research, they'll have done their prep, but when it comes to the day, we could completely shock them and have some proper exciting matches here at St Andrews. We saw a bit of it against Bristol City.
Yeah, I think you look back at last year, and we spoke about it on this podcast, the teams that beat us here, your Boltons and your Millwalls, they let us have the ball and just said, go on then, we don't think you've got enough to break us down. And credit to them, it was the way that you beat Blues away from home last season. So we've had to come up with a different way of playing, whether the remits come from the board, from Pep himself, but there seems to be a conscious effort that we're going to try and play a more fluid, expansive, possession-based style of play. As long as there's a means to an end, as long as it's you're not passing the ball for the sake of it and you're going to go somewhere, I think it's it's exciting to watch, and it will be developing all the time. I mean, these players have just walked through the door. You mentioned just the sheer volume of new names and new faces. It's going to take a few weeks for these lads to bed in. Once that happens, they'll get to form little partnerships. I think we'll come on to the Crowley Villalba one, which could potentially be a real exciting partnership. So they're going to get better all the time, you'd like to hope. Lots more time on the training ground as they've had this week will do them the world of good. The Spanish lads settling into the country and the language and the culture. So I think as the weeks go by, you'd like to think Blues are on an upward trajectory.
One of the things that excites me that we didn't have so much last season is the amount of options that we've got. We've seen already, 3 different systems over the course of pre-season start of this.
Yeah.
We've gone 2 up front, 4 at the back, 3 at the back, 1 up front. There's that many options to keep things fresh. I mean, I mentioned being an unknown quantity, but we've always got answers potentially there.
I think it's just about being adaptable in game. I think sometimes Pep and managers at all levels, the opposition won't quite set up as you expect them to, and so you're going to have to react to them, or you might notice something where there's an opportunity to get at one side of the pitch or the other, or spaces in between lines. And so as long as we have the adaptability to change our formation, it makes us just a difficult prospect to go up against, because if they're all comfortable playing a 3-4-3, or as we saw on Saturday, a 4-4-1-1 or 4-3-3, however you want to talk about it. I mean, a lot of Pep himself said lots of talk about systems, but ultimately it's about how you players play in those systems. But I think it can only be a good thing if we've got a few strings to our bow and we're not predictable. I mean, as good as we were last season, after probably a month of playing against Blues, you pretty much knew, 1, what the starting 11 was going to be, and 2, how they play and how they line up. And it worked for us. It's not a slight on us, but maybe 1 or 2 of those draws where we could change it up a little bit. And it's whether Pep will be bold enough to make those changes mid-game as well. I think everyone was expecting that 3 at the back ahead of Bristol, and then all of a sudden we've gone with 4, and everyone's surprised again. And so too will Bristol. I think they have fully done their homework. I know Lee Johnson was at Griffin Park. He was on the.
He was, yeah.
He was in court on camera doing his homework on us. So he'd have seen the 3, thought we were going to go with it and didn't. So good that we've got players that can adapt. So let's just see how it pans out. But like I say, from a supporter's point of view and from a media team's point of view, it's brought the excitement of not knowing what we're going to get, including this Saturday against Forest.
Let's go back to Griffin Park then. Our last ever visit, potentially. I mean, I say that, but you know we're going to get drawn away at Brentford now in the FA Cup. It's bound to happen. Yeah. But our last ever visit was a fruitful one. 3 points. Christian Pedersen with a head made of rock.
Absolute whammed, blockhead.
I don't know. He's put Harry Maguire to shame.
Yeah. No, that's a proper header. I mean, I don't even think it was on. And I think Steve said and summed it up. He's done a programme feature for the Bristol game, and he said the goal made the assist. So yeah, it'll go down as Steve said, an assist. But actually, he pulled his cross a little bit. Fair play to him for put it into an area. But for Peds just to read it, I think he's darted in front of his marker as well. Pulled his neck muscles and absolutely just powered one goalwards. Just swazzed one. I mean, yeah, it's an unbelievable header from that far out as well. I know Tatey on commentary said, he was, I think he said it was inside the box, but it was well outside the 18-yard box. And to be fair to Brentford, they can feel a little bit aggrieved. I mean, Campy's had to make a really good save in the first half. They've hit the bar twice. They've hit the post. All the possession stats. I know Blues fans are having little digs at Brentford supporters in a good-hearted way, but about the fact that they've had more possession than us, as they did against Cambridge and lost during the week. But ultimately, the only stat that matters is the scoreline, and for us to dig in as we did. And second half, to credit to Blues, they limited Brentford to very, very few chances.
Solid at the back.
Yeah, I mean, Robbo puts his body on the line late on to make a really good block, but other than that, I think Campy tips one round the post. But I can't remember 2 clear-cut ones. It was almost that first 15-20 minutes where they came flying out the blocks. And again, I think it comes down to the consistency of how Brentford play. They've played that way. Yeah, Maupay wasn't in the team, which is a big loss, and Sawyers, of course. But they've played that way for a number of years now, so there's not too much of a transitional period for them. We were a completely new outfit with new members in the team, a new system, a new head coach. So I think it took time for them to settle. First game you want to do well, but we knew what we were up against, and to come away with 3 points from Brentford, we spoke about this during the week again, a team who only Norwich and West Bromwich Albion scored more goals than last season. Their home record was fantastic, so a really impressive victory, and I think 1 or 2 would have ripped up their coupons from that one.
I'd like to ask what Christian Pedersen was thinking going in for that header, but I mean, he told us post-match, and I don't think we can repeat
certain
it.
terms, yeah. But you know what? I think that does show it's a great example of a player who conducts an interview and just says it as it is. Like he's a fantastic character, Peds. He's a bit of an air. He's a bit of a crazy guy around the place, but in a real playful way. And I think his accent, the way he does things, just makes me smile. And so, yeah, when we asked him post-match what he was thinking, and he just came out with it. I mean, you want that sort of character and honesty from a player. We bleeped it out. No one was hurt. So, yeah.
Well, Brentford were hurt.
Yeah, well.
But other than that,
we don't really care.
Right. We went from Griffin Park down to Portsmouth in the week. I mean, we don't want to touch too much on the result because, I mean, obviously disappointing. Yeah. But credit to the lads who went out there. As a youth, I think the average age was, 21?
Yeah, very young. I mean, firstly, I think the game plan changed last minute. Isaac Vassell, of course, in anticipation of his move to Cardiff, was pulled. I mean, an hour, 45 minutes.
Down
the team sheets were more or less nearly in. So he was down there and that was pulled. So then you have no out-and-out striker. Dan Crowley's put onto the starting 11 onto the pitch as our most forward-thinking player, and it's not in his instinct to run in behind and stretch the team, so to stretch the opposition. So, that changed things a little bit. So more for the young lads to deal with. Obviously, all the spotlight surrounds Jude Bellingham. Becomes our youngest ever player, 16 years, 38 days, breaking Trevor Francis's record. It's a fantastic achievement for him. He is a player that's been highlighted throughout all the age groups of the academy. He's the worst kept secret. Everyone's sort of aware of how talented he is, of course, representing England as well and captaining their side. But also there's some really encouraging performances across the pitch. Geraldo Bajrami, I know a supporter made a montage of his.
Yeah.
And you watch that and you think, well, everyone's talking about Harry Maguire and how calm and collected he was on the ball at the weekend. For the first 15 minutes, I think, fizzed in about 10 passes into midfield through little gaps and started to find Crowley. And I mean, he looked like he'd been playing senior football for a while. Got in a really good battle as well with Ellis Harrison. I think he got him booked over on the far side, a little bit of handbags, but you don't mind seeing that from a young player who can mix it up a little bit. He's happy with the ball at his feet, but also if he has to do the nasty stuff,
he's not going to back down.
Yeah, absolutely, and you have to have that steeliness, especially if you're going to play Championship, League 1, League 2 football. So yeah, disappointing with the result. You never want to get beat, but loads of positives to take. And I know how proud the club were, and the academy, and all the coaches that are putting work to making sure that these players have a chance and to put them in a position where they can play and represent this first team. And you could see, talking to Geraldo after the game and a few of the other boys, Jude came over and had a word as well. Odin, I think, done himself no harm whatsoever in his performance when he came on as sub. So just to represent the first team and get that first one out the way, playing in front of a crowd. And it was quite a decent atmosphere at Fratton Park.
It was, yeah, fair play to the Pompey fans.
Make a bit of noise. And it's out the way now. They know what to expect. They've got that first senior appearance out the way. So for them, it's a great experience, and it should whet the appetite, make them work even harder now in the coming weeks and months to try and represent us again.
Yeah, the future's looking bright. Right, after that, Bristol City were the first visitor. Well, I say first visitor to St Andrews. Second visitors, first for Blues to visit St Andrews Trillion Trophy Stadium this season. Bit disappointing that we didn't actually seal the win with their equaliser coming almost at the death. But again, really, really encouraging signs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you saw in little flashes, fits and spurts, what's to come out of this team. Again, there's that little passage of play involving Crowley, Villalba, Davis, Sunjic, eventually falling to Lukas Jutkiewicz, who on the turn gets the hammer out and absolutely zings one towards the top corner. It's a good save from Bentley, but I think the 30 seconds leading up to that chance from Blues, I don't think we've seen that sort of play at home or away in terms of a fluid, neat passing move in some time. So there are clear signs of what they're being asked to do and what they're working on the training pitch. You get yourself 1-0 up with the most stereotypical Lukas Jutkiewicz goal. But credit to Mark Roberts, by the way, who stands the ball up perfectly in his white Preds as a centre-half. Got my eyes on them. I'm size 11. And Juki, as he tells us a bit later on, that, I mean, don't get in his way when that ball's hung up towards the back post, because whether you and the ball end up in the back of the net,
you're being bulldozed.
So you get yourself 1-0 up, and I think that's why it's tinged with a little bit of frustration, just because at home it's a tight game, two decent sides. and you manage to get your noses in front, you think, this could be what start this could be. But credit to Bristol City, I thought they created some chances. Benicophobe's had a couple of big chances. Campy's had another good performance at home. And the one real bit of quality from Palmer, I think he's made 2 or 3 very good defence splitting balls, but that one in the second half, it just cuts between Wes Harding, who came on, and one of the centre halves. I know Wes tweeted after the game an apology, which shows the measure of him as a young player. Again, you forget, he's only been in and around the senior setup for a year, 18 months, and credit to him, because he might have got his position a little bit wrong and unaware that the player was over his shoulder. But he came out and was big enough and brave enough to tweet about it. And I think we've got to let our young players, who we're going to lean on a lot this year, we can't celebrate them when they perform okay and they're coming on, and yet not give them chance to develop and make mistakes. And so, full credit to Wes, but just a fantastic pass that split us open, and he's absolutely just rocketed one he hasn't even taken a touch, I don't think. He's hit it first time into the bottom corner. It's a neat enough finish, and to be fair, on the balance of play, could we complain that it wasn't a fair result? Probably not. I think it's a good point. They'll probably be happy with a point to go home with. It's their first one of the season. And Brentford and Bristol City are 2 teams that were in and around the playoff shake-up last year.
And they're going to be up there again, let's be honest.
And you'd expect, like you say, for a team with the quality they've got, for them to be at the right end of the table again. So no shame whatsoever in a draw. We move on to Saturday.
One of the things that's gone under the radar, and you mentioned it briefly there, with all the attacking football we've been playing, how strong we've been at the back as well.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to everyone involved. Mark Roberts, Harley Dean, Lee Camp, some incredible performances.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have looked solid.
Yeah, and we went from a 3 to a 4, so a couple of different systems in there. But you're right, there's new partnerships being formed. Of course, Michael Morrison left the club, so then you have Mark Roberts comes in, and he looks like a player who's full of confidence now. We knew that you want to get a run of games as a professional. You come to a new club, you want to be given a chance and get a frequent run of matches, and he looks like he's going to get that this season. And he wins most of the challenges in the air that he gets. A big, strong lad, Robbo, probably the strongest physically that we've got.
Well, how many people have said he'd win an all-squad Royal Rumble?
Yeah, that's it. So they see it day in, day out. And he'll work on getting better on the ball. And he started to look to, when he's got it at his feet, to try and find blue shirts and slide passes into dangerous areas where a Crowley or a Villalba can pick it up. So, alongside Harley Dean, they look solid. And then it depends on what we go with. I mean, you look at Peds, who Christian Patterson's played both left side of a back 3, is then played left back against Bristol City.
Mr. Versatile.
Yeah, capable of playing both. I actually like the idea of him being left side of a back 3.
Yeah, I think you're right.
As a full-back, he's not one that's going to nudge it past everyone, drop step overs, hit the byline and put a cross in. Very much a defensive-minded full-back, so he could quite easily slip in left side of that back 3, and he's done well. Very, very capable in the air. I don't remember him losing a header at all last season. I can't remember someone getting up above Christian Patterson, which is a good sign. So as a 3 or as a 4, Maxime Collin, you know what you're going to get on the other side, one of the best right-backs in the division. So it bodes well. And Lee Camp, I mean, we always talk about Campy, and he's got rhino skin when it comes to criticism. Fans have, quite rightly, you could say, criticised some of his performances last season. But I think everyone left after Bristol and at Brentford saying, well, Lee Camp looks like a different player.
Singing his name.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see, because we've had him on this very podcast, one of the best guys in and around the place. And so you want fans to be on board with him and support him. And if he keeps performing that way, then he's only going to get more of the Lee Camp in the middle of our goal chant.
Gets stuck in your head, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's addictive.
Left Brentford whistling it. Right, yeah, Forest at the weekend. We go over to your old stomping grounds, Nottingham.
Yes, yeah, a team who have recruited hugely in the summer. I think they've bought in so many players. I've lost count of how many they actually bought in, but they've always seemed to have a big recruitment
a new
push.
Manager and everything.
Yeah, it's a complete change at Forest. So yeah, I mean, you know what to expect. A great stadium to play football. They'll have a good go. I think they'll expect to be in and around the top 10 again. Whether they have enough to push the playoffs, we'll see. But a bit of unknown from them as well. Talking to our analysts and opposition scouts this week about Forest, a team who are just solid all over the pitch. They've got players who can score goals. Dawson's obviously going back to where it all started for him. Vastly experienced centre half. Lolly, who seems to be the scourge of us.
We shouldn't mention his name.
Yeah, I know. But he's a danger. You have to say at this level, he's a very good player. I thought a Prem team might have gambled on him, but so things to be aware of by all means, but nothing to be particularly scared of from Blues. 4 points from the first 2. I know Forest have had a couple of tricky games to sit on a point, but West Brom and Leeds. But I think there'll be an interesting dynamic when it comes to the City ground, because they'll be looking at Blues thinking, rightly or wrongly, this is our easiest of the first 3 fixtures. We played West Bromwich Albion and Leeds, both up there as promotion favourites. Birmingham City at home, there's an opportunity for them. So it'd be interesting to see how we deal with that and play with that, whether they come roaring out the traps or not. But no, I'd love going back to Nottingham. Obviously, studied there and lived there for a few years, so I'll be hanging around, visiting a particular restaurant afterwards and have a good night.
I mean, personally, from my point of view...
I didn't say which restaurant it was, so you can stop laughing on the other end of this
McDonald's?
microphone.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I think from a personal point of view anyway, we owe them a bit after last season. 2-0 up, coasting. I mean, I know it was two managers ago in Forest sense. But, yeah, coasting 15 minutes, was it, to spare?
Yeah.
2-0 up. And then, come back and shock us, and it's Joe Lolly again.
Yeah, we... I think it was nearly a perfect away performance. Shea Adams' turn and finish into the bottom corner. I mean, how many times did we see that? We weren't to know at the time.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah, we weren't to know at the time, but that almost became his signature move. And then Juki, obviously, with just a freak header that should never be angled back from where it came, but somehow he manages to pull it out of the bag, and you're home and hosed, 15 to go, 2-0 up. As solid as we were defensively last year, you put your house on us, but... Yeah, Campia, as we say, lots of people look at him maybe for one of the goals. The other one's a good strike. He's caught it cleanly from distance, and you end up drawing the game. So, but no, we'll see. You look at it away from home against a team, draw your away games, win your home ones. But I wouldn't put it past Blues picking up all 3 points on Saturday. And it was quite refreshing listening to Gary Gardner talking to one or two of the players. We had a Sky Sports photo shoot this week. And he was chatting to one or two of the younger lads and saying about Forest, and it'll be a tough game. He said, "Nah, I fancy him, we'll do him." And there's that confidence coming out of the group now, which is good. And that'll only steadily build as hopefully they get to know each other better. And like we say, the relationships will get tighter, and hopefully we pick up the results to go with these performances that look like they could be a little bit more entertaining this year.
Now, one man who loves going to the City ground more than you do, I think, is Lukas Jutkiewicz. Spoke about his header last season, goal of the season contender. By the narrowest of margins as well, as we'll mention to him later.
Yeah, he's... well, you know yourself, we've dealt with the Duke, this is 4th season, and certainly since I've been at the club, there isn't a nicer bloke off the pitch than Lukas Jutkiewicz. I think we saw with Bobby, the young lad who just finished his chemotherapy, how he was around him. But not just that, how he's with everyone around the place. It doesn't matter whether you're the tea lady, or the receptionist, us as a media team. He's just a fantastic professional that you want at your football club. And it's those things that you don't see on a Saturday in that hour and a half that you come down as a supporter. You see this brutal, big battering ram
machine.
Yeah, who wins everything and fights for every ball and gets absolutely knocked from pillar to post. But actually, off it, he's a fantastic bloke. And he was kind enough to give us some of his time after quite a wet and windy training session. And I thought it was... The good thing about this chat is, and I think the good thing about the podcast as a format of media, is that it's a more relaxed sort of environment, and we didn't want to just concentrate on the football aspect of things. It was more about him as a person, and some of the stag that he went on that went viral, the picture of him in his own kit, his choice of car.
That's the one that needed answering, by the way.
His choice of car is an interesting one. So, no, I really enjoyed the chat with him. Brilliant bloke. Fantastic professional who I don't think anyone could speak highly enough of at the club. And well worth a listen.
Well, enough from us. Have a listen to the man himself, the Duke, Lukas Jutkiewicz.
The Blues Talk Podcast.
We're rolling.
Who? Lukas Jutkiewicz are the best 5. I'll give you 5. I'll take 3 target men since the Premier League era began. So not based on how many they score. I mean, focal point of an attack.
Right.
Big, horrible, brings other players into play.
I don't know why you're asking.
Just give me some names.
Mate.
I just want you to know.
Why would I know? Being the out-and-out pace merchant.
Yeah, being the speedster.
Why would I have a clue about target
I
men?
thought you had a broad footballing knowledge.
So what is it? So like they're going back on games and like using the stats that they now have in.
No, I just think like it's more of an opinion. Like it's not quantifiable.
All right. How many have we got?
I'll take 3 from you, but if you got 5,
3 of the top 5,
the
yeah.
best, yeah.
Big Al. It's got to be Alan Shearer.
Big Al got. You know who threw Big Al in? James Beattie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he threw Big Al in.
Southampton.
But I always thought I didn't think he was a big target man. I thought he was
a finisher.
But
to be fair, he was, and
Yeah.
particularly more towards the end of his career.
Yeah,
but like he could do everything.
Yeah,
Really.
when he volleyed that absolute monster one.
Unbelievable against Everton. Yeah, ridiculous.
Okay.
So is he one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't even got him on this list.
Duncan Ferguson.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a shout. That's on there.
Looking at durability, because I tell you who I really like, but he won't be on there, was Santa Cruz. Remember him? It was a time where he wasn't that at it for very long, but when he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ex-Blues on there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff.
No,
but that's a good shout.
Yeah.
That's a very good shout.
Yeah, the horse would be a good one.
So. No. He played just after Jeff. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is embarrassing.
They both played a bit after Jeff, but get away from the Blues thing.
Yeah,
Just who in general, since the Premier League, do you think are the best target men?
Yeah,
2 out of 2.
So I've got Alan Shearer,
Shearer
Duncan
and
Ferguson. I'm really showing
So
my lack of knowledge.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, but like because you're talking about what type of target man are you?
Just a big.
Because he was like Berbatov was a central striker, but he wasn't. You wouldn't associate him as a target, but he was unbelievable.
Okay, agree or disagree?
Go on.
Crouch.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah.
Kevin Davis.
Oh yeah, now you say them. Of course, they should have been both at Southampton as well. Should have been right up there.
The 2 ex-Blues, Nikola Zigic.
Oh yeah.
And Emil Heskey.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, got to agree with that.
Les Ferdinand, which is a little bit. I can't remember watching him that much.
It's on the Shearer mold.
Yeah.
Well, they were a hell of a when Shearer first went to Newcastle. The 2 of them.
Niall Quinn.
Yeah, he's the definitive, isn't he? Yeah, the knockdown merchant.
And Andy Carroll.
Yeah, you have to go along with them.
Where do you feature in that list, Jukes?
Where do I feature?
Where do you come into that, Jukes?
On the spot.
Yeah, no.
I'd pick you above Santa Cruz.
No.
I would.
No.
He
was a good looking guy as well. He had everything. Yeah.
No, he was good, mate. How are we?
All right, yeah. Can't complain.
So
through, yeah. I know. Couldn't believe we're still in August. The Spanish contingent didn't know what had hit them.
Welcome to England.
Exactly, yeah.
How did they take it? Are the snoods and gloves out yet?
Yeah, no, it did make me laugh actually, even yesterday when it's sort of 20 degrees heat and Jefferson Montero is wearing trousers and training. I couldn't quite get my head around it.
Wait till mid-February. Especially here, it's got like the micro
climate.
Oh,
yeah.
How was it we had it described earlier? Like the airport?
Who was it? The picture at the top like the airport.
Yeah.
But good start, mate. 1 game, 1 goal at home.
Yeah.
100th appearance, netting.
Was it?
100 start,
100 start.
Was it? Do you know what? I didn't even know that. No one told me that. So
congratulations.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Yeah, nice one.
100 start for the club, but no.
It was all right.
If ever there was a stereotypical Lukas Jutkiewicz goal,
well, just not with my feet.
It's one to the back post and an absolute get out the way.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's one of them where it's a great ball from Robbo, and your eyes light up when you see that. And you think, I can just take the defender around the ball here and just smash them both in. So no, it's been. Solid start. I mean, obviously you're greedy and you want 6 points out of the 2 games, and especially leading at home with not a huge amount of time left, there's an opportunity there. So there's a bit of disappointment with that, but certainly can't complain. It just goes to show again with this league, only 2 teams have got 6 points out of 6.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that just shows what it's all about. I think it's going to be tight again.
Yeah. And you'd imagine Brentford at home, Bristol City, they're both teams that were in and around that kind of mix last year. So it's not an easy start.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I think Brentford had probably one of the better home records, if not the best at home.
Yeah.
I think.
And West Brom and Norwich had scored more. Third high
so and we keep a clean sheet there. So there's certainly, there's 2 tough fixtures to open up with.
Yeah.
So no, I think we're obviously plenty to work on, but I think we can be, reasonably happy with the start.
Glad that the games are in now.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. You always want that. Pre-season, it's good in terms of getting your squad together, getting used to new lads and getting fitness in, but ultimately you just want to get playing again. We just want to be playing in games that have got something on the line that mean something to people really. And you know, Saturday again was just getting back out of St Andrews was quality. You know, it's just the atmosphere was awesome.
Yeah, when you score down that end as well.
Yeah.
You think you're going to win the game, so it's felt like a big goal.
Yeah, it did.
On.
Yeah, because it's tight 0-0. And you think, you felt like that could have been the definitive goal.
You've mastered the casual jog away celebration.
It's just because I'm absolutely knackered. Sort of like, right, I can get a breather now. And most people like dart off, but I've not got any energy in me at that point.
You
so
need
a
dance or something. Just to
or,
surprise everyone.
I can't handle the dance. Yeah, but that would at least keep people on their toes, make it. But no, I'm not a big fan of the routine celebration.
You're
dance.
almost like
a little,
Shearer
and then just like wait to get jumped.
Arms outstretched, innit? That's your go-to.
Yeah.
Who was it? Yeah, some I think who was it? Did it? Unbelievable dance. First home game of last season was Viv, wasn't it?
Viv and Mags.
I
love that.
I can't handle that.
Yeah, it's doing the shaka.
I don't think I've got the rhythm for this, so I can't get involved in the celebration.
Throw it out, mate.
It was funny because Morrow actually went over to sort of celebrate, realised they were doing a dance, knew he'd look stupid joining in, just jogged straight back. So I can't get involved in that.
I always do feel bad actually looking back on like our pre-season montages and stuff.
Yeah.
And we always tend to highlight you after you've done like a monster run or something, just because you put everything into it. So you look shattered every year.
Every montage.
It's like Suki's knackered.
It's my signature move, just looking exhausted.
I think the challenge has been set now though by Dale. You've got to bring out some kind of dance this season.
Something, yeah.
Mate.
I could do a forward roll, but I just don't think I'd get back up.
But it would be hilarious though. No, I don't know.
I'll have to think of that. Do you know, I felt bad actually because obviously was practicing celebrations 3 or 4 days before with Bobby, and he was showing me some pretty impressive ones, some of his fortnight celebrations. And I said I would try and do one of them for him on Saturday, and you just get lost in the moment. So just reverted to this finger in the air.
No. That was quite a heartwarming one, wasn't it, Bobby? I mean, and did you see the video of the Bristol City?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. You know, Bristol City fans really sort of showed themselves off really well then. It's kind of football at its best, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's what it should be. That's what it should do for people. It should bring people together. Particularly for a kid as special as that, and some family that's been through so much. It's kind of a real pleasure to be part of. A club that can bring people together and show them a good time when they've been through some difficult times.
Yeah, no, I think that video in particular is one that it went a long way with a lot of people. I think could relate to this young little lad who'd been through so much, and then I said to him, if you could have one player to score, it'd be the Duke, and when you score, everyone's thought, oh my god.
I know. Bristol City just ruined it, didn't they? By equalising. It's not really fair.
Selfish.
Yeah. They should have let them know.
Talking of pre-season, mate, you had a busy one when you got married?
Went and got married, it was actually off season, before, so that was a great day. We had I would say a lot of planning, but not for me. You know, my wife did all the planning pretty much, and I just had to turn up on time. But it was an amazing day. We had it went exactly as we wanted it to be. Everyone that you care about in the same room having a good time. You can't really ask for much more than that, and it was nice to get that sorted.
Was it nice to put your own kit on for the Stag?
Yeah, I was about to say, it went viral.
That wasn't so nice.
Great.
It was a funny one that because we were flying from Stansted. From Stansted, and it was the night before. We went down the night before just to stay because it was an early flight, and just so I went to go to bed. My best man in front of him said, "Where do you think you're going, mate? You need your clothes for tomorrow." And that's the first I saw of it. And he'd get out, and it was JP, our kit man, that actually they'd been in touch and got actually my kit that I wore in the game.
Skybet badge on the arm.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, legit. And it even topped off with the Lonsdale trainers. A couple of the boys thought they were mine. They were like, they're probably actually, So I thought that I'd get away with it. It was about 4:30 in the morning we flew. So from Stansted, I'm thinking, there'll be hardly anyone in there, forgetting that it was bank holiday weekend. So about 10 yards walking into the terminal, there's like a bunch of Blues fans. And they were great. They said, you're funny. They looked and sort of thought, nah, he wouldn't be dressed in his own kit. And I said, it's actually him. Yeah. Come and said hello and said, that was all. And then I didn't realise, as I was walking off, they took the snap just as I was walking away. And then so we flew. And then it wasn't until we landed in Budapest to everyone's turned on their phone and realised that it's just gone viral.
It did go viral.
My mates were buzzing with it.
It did go viral.
But it was nice. It was fun. It was. I'm glad it was sort of taken in the spirit that it was meant. It was nice.
if you had to choose 4 other players to go on a wild stag out of everyone you've played with, that's a question. That's a good question.
Yeah, the
mad ones.
The mad ones.
Yeah, you know the game
game. I could stitch people right up here, couldn't I? No one in this dressing room. None of them drink. None of them go on any nights out. Who would have been? Just like, I tell you, there was one lad who would. Nicky Bailey, I played with at Middlesbrough. He was unbelievable. Like, he just through day and night, he would just, you wouldn't have a clue whether he's drunk or not. He would been drinking. Seamless. Like, it was so impressive. Yeah, that was a real top professional at the height of his game there. So I'd have to put him on the list for sure.
Do you have to be really conscious though? Like even during the off season, because you're always in the spotlight as a player. Yeah. Even just to let your hair down, like you should have we always have to talk about this, whereas a player can be in the comfort of their own home, getting absolutely destroyed on wine and drink, but because nobody sees it, don't matter. If they can have one bottle of beer over a meal. Yeah,
it's perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, particularly nowadays, everyone's got a camera phone, everyone can take a video without anyone noticing. Mm-hmm. And also, you could take a snap of someone and it looks a certain way, whereas it's just a split second in time, and that isn't the reality of what's going on. Yeah. So you do have to be careful with that a little bit, but I think as long as you're safe in the knowledge that it's important we let our hair down at the right times, of course, but as long as you know that you're doing the right things and you're kind of aware that, I'm really lucky with my group of friends from home. They're quite protective of me. Like they would make sure that nothing like that would happen. They wouldn't stitch you up too much, apart from some of the outfits. I mean, the football kit was perhaps the only one that would have been allowed on social media. But other than that, you need to let your hair down at the right times. But ultimately, that's the world we live in now with social media. You have to be careful. You have to make sure that you're surrounded by the right people, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Back to the football. How have you found this new style that we're trying to implement now? I know Pep's, obviously, there's a bit of a Spanish contingent, not just the boys, but Pep, Paco, and even Javi with the 23s as well now. Do you sort of have to be mindful of how we're going to play this year, or do you just do what you always do?
I think, obviously, any manager that comes in wants to sort of put their own stamp on things. It's still, the game doesn't change massively. There'll be certain things that they want to do differently or want to build up slightly differently. But ultimately, teams want to get to the final third and they want to put the ball into the box and make other teams defend. They want to get shots on target. It's how you go about that is up to you. But ultimately, that's the end result for most teams. Yeah. So it's not been a huge. Particularly because we knew Pep anyway, so it's not like he had to come in and get to know everyone. Absolutely. That it's easy with that from that respect. So I would say it's not been too different.
Too much of a change. You can see glimpses though. I think the supporters, especially against Bristol, that one passage of play that went all over Twitter. Yeah. I think it led to your shot. Actually, it was. Yeah,
you were saying it would have been a hell of a goal.
Yeah,
from
the 30 seconds before was actually like a great bit of football.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I've heard from Blues fans that I know in the area, they really enjoy watching the game Saturday. So that there's a lot of good footballs played, and ultimately we want to get results, but of course we have to entertain people as well. It was pleasing to play that way, and but ultimately it's about winning games really. You can play as well as you want, but if you're coming off getting beat every week, then no one's enjoying themselves at all. So you need to get that balance right.
Yeah, and we can do that against Forest. Can we expect another pencil jump header?
Yeah, it was a weird one, isn't it? Yeah, it just didn't look natural, that one. It looked like like you say, a pencil dive into the swimming pool.
It's because you're almost at full stretch going that way.
That's it.
And managed to get it back across
the fade away. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I'll take another one of them. Yeah. That was good. That was 2 points dropped last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For 75 minutes, it was a perfect away performance, and then score a cracking goal, didn't they? The first one, and then obviously the crowd gets up, and then you're under pressure. But that's always a good place to go and play. Really, fantastic stadium. Obviously a lot of history at that club. So really looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back into the sort of midweek games as well. So season's right underway then.
Missing the cold Tuesday nights.
That's Oh, do you know what? I love it when we play midweek games. It means you don't have to train so much. You're just playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. You get into a bit of a rhythm. It's more or less you're coming in to do a bit of recovery stuff and a bit of tactical stuff. Whereas then you revert back to playing Saturday to Saturday. You have to do a lot more conditioning through the week. So everyone wants to play games rather than train for sure. So looking forward to getting stuck into them.
You're one of the senior boys, mate, now.
Yeah, I know. So I keep getting reminded. Yeah,
you, Harley, Digger, Max, I suppose.
Yeah. Keith.
Got that contingent out in a cord that they've kept together, and then adding the little bits together.
There's. I think that's important. You want people that have, have been here a little while longer now, that ultimately sort of set precedents in training and make sure that the demands are high, and then it becomes easier for people just stepping into that change room to know what's expected, and then they can fit in a lot easier. I mean, we've got a really good group of guys here, and I think it's a pretty easy place for people to come and feel welcome and make sure they get settled nice and quickly.
Have you had a word with Harley about you not getting the captain's armband?
Yeah, I was fuming. Yeah.
You told him.
So he ripped it off me. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, disgraceful.
I think you've got to be in for a shout there, haven't you? I don't think you can't have been far off.
No, it was. To be honest, it was never anything that I even thought that I would. Like the people asked me, in and around Solihull, would I be putting my name in? I said I'm not really thinking about that, because I personally I don't think centre forwards are captains. That's just personally, just because I think they have so many other things to think about from an individual point of view.
To see the
making
whole game.
Yeah, I just always think centre halves, you can see everything. You can see most of the games going on in front of you, so you can kind of see what's going on and affect things by the way that you see it. Harley's a great leader. He's someone that's well respected within the change room. He's not afraid to voice his opinion. People listen to that, and that's kind of what you need in a captain. So it wasn't something that I particularly had my eye on. It was. But having said that, it was a massive honour to do it last season. That was a really, really special moment for me to captain this club, to walk out with my son, and to nick a goal like that was kind of perfect. So I've got perfect record as a captain. One
get in, get out.
Yeah, exactly. One game, one goal. That'll do me. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. That's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is there still a lot of unknowns when it comes to us this season? Like, you speak to fans, and I don't think fans still are sure where we're going to be, what they can project our end position is going to be at the end of the season. Do you feel that as a player, it's just a case of taking it one step at a time and seeing where we go? Sounds cliche.
Yeah, as boring as that sounds, it is. Yeah, it's because I think 90% of the league will think that. Yeah. Like it's such a tight league. I mean, I go back to what I said earlier about only 2 teams have taken maximum points. and there's big clubs that haven't picked up a win yet. So it's going to be tight throughout the league. So I'm sure 20 teams will probably be thinking, if we can get close to that playoff position, you never know. So I think you just have to take it game by game, and the league will sort of settle itself down eventually, and then you sort of then begin to realise what the aims are. But ultimately, you think about the game Saturday, you want to win that. You then deal with the game Tuesday, you want to win that, and then after that, you want to win the next game. So it really is, as boring as it sounds and as cliche, you just want to win every game you play and see where it takes you. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you feel as fit as you have ever been? Since Rishi probably came in, the boys just seem to have gone onto another level in terms of the fitness. Do you personally, you find? Yeah,
personally. I mean, when I first came to Blues, I'd just come back from a long-term knee injury. I'd been out for a year, so individually, I was obviously getting up to speed match pace-wise, and then the following season found myself out of the team. But since Gary came in, I've played every game, so I feel fitness-wise pretty much as fit as I've ever done. But a huge credit to that for not only myself but all of the lads feeling fit. It's got to go to Rushy really. He demands a lot from the lads, but he also gives a lot back. Everything's structured really well. The sessions. There's a clear plan to them, and that gets translated across to the boys. That he tells them exactly how it's going to help them, and because there's that clarity, you buy into it, and you make sure you're putting everything into it. So, since he came in, I think we've become a really, really fit sort of force, and he's got to take a big amount. I mean, I know he does take a lot of credit for that. He loves it, mate. Yeah, but he's a really good influence around the place, and he'll tell you that it's all about him.
He has.
On this very podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I think because of the style and the way you play, Juki, you can imagine you could go late into your 30s.
What are you trying to say,
What
mate?
I'm trying to say is that you haven't got to change your game up, have you, Juki?
What are you saying, that I won't be able to lose my pace?
Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is you ain't got no pace to lose, so you're okay.
Yeah, well, I'll play as long as I can, really. I say at 30 now, I feel like, as fit as I ever have done. So, I'll play as long as I physically can do, really, as long as I'm helping a team and not being a detriment to the team, So, but I do take your point that it's kind of the way that I play does suit being able to play later on into your, mid to late 30s, if that's possible. Then I'll certainly be looking to do that.
Do you even give an ounce of thought as to what happens after you can't play no more?
I think you have to a little bit. I think you just want to put a few things in place. Give yourself options, really, of what you want to do. But it's a huge thing to think about for a lot of players, because how to fill that void. A lot of players find it really difficult. It's a tough situation to go from knowing exactly what you're doing every day, having an itinerary out for you, also coming into a workplace where you're surrounded by your mates and you're having a laugh every day, you're working hard but you're all enjoying each other's company, to not then maybe seeing each other every day, and that can become quite a lonely place for a lot of people. I know, a lot of players have had to deal with that from the mental health side of things. So I think for me, I want to put things in place so that there's kind of a seamless transition, so that I'm not spending a little bit of time not doing anything. I've always wanted to wake up in the morning and have a goal, have something to try and work towards, really. So started doing the badges last year. So something I think we'll continue doing that. Just to put that in place, really. And a few things outside of football as well.
You book the trend when it comes to footballers. We've seen you playing the guitar over the summer, and you're part of book club. Mario was talking about. You're probably part of the book club as well.
Book club,
So, did you know that Holly was filming you?
I didn't know. I was basically. I went up to. So we both. He took it. He'd been given a guitar to practice. So I said, well, if you want to take yours to Portugal, I'll take mine, and I can show you a few little things. So I went up to his room just to tune his guitar, and then all of a sudden I'm just playing. I didn't realise that he's just, again, it goes back to what we were saying. This is the world we live in with social media and phones, and I was just playing, and I didn't realise he was recording, and then before I know it, he's put it on social media. So, mate, what can you do?
Doing a bit though, mate. Good little voice.
Did it?
Back of the bag.
I enjoy playing. It's something to do. Just keeps your mind off things, really. But don't take it too seriously.
Would that be one of your celebrations? Bring out
the guitar. What? Just like hide it behind the goal or something,
in that corner,
and bring it out. Just sit everyone down.
Acoustic set.
Didn't Portland Timbers cut a log of wood?
They do that every week, don't they?
Yeah, so
chainsaw.
Guitars, nothing.
That's it, exactly.
Well, that's it. If he can smuggle in a chainsaw, he'll be all right with a guitar.
Getting that into the stadium.
Security concerns.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
That's
like things like that. Like I say, I like to read, like to play guitar. Just something that helps you switch off really away from football. I think it's important to have other interests as well. Otherwise, you just get caught up in a bubble really, and think that there's not a huge amount else going on in the world. That's I get less and less time to do that really now, that with my little man running around every few minutes. I used to be able to do that anyway.
Yeah. No, class though. How is it being a dad and the little man?
It's brilliant. It's awesome. He's just turned 2 in June, so he's really finding his voice now. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes not such a good thing. But there's so much fun, a lot of energy, but it's brilliant fun. His best thing is the biggest challenge, but the best thing you ever do really. So no, we're enjoying that.
I suppose any spare time that you get away from football, they say players are only in for a few hours a day, but then you're back home and you've got a little man to look after.
Sometimes that's more intense than the training session.
Come to work for a chill out. Come to work to relax.
That's it. Like the manager said, you've got a day off tomorrow. Like, no, I think we need to come in. I think there's a few things we need to work on. It's brilliant. It's the best thing I've ever done, really. A lot of fun.
Pretty settled.
Yeah, absolutely settled. So no, it's nice to get my future sorted here. as a family, we love it here. We love the area. We certainly didn't want to go anywhere, so it was nice to get that sorted and can just kind of look to the future.
Yeah. Did you have a chat with the club for a few months or weeks before?
Yeah.
Did it happen pretty quickly? Or?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward, really. I kind of over the summer wanted the club wanted to tie it down, really, and I was you hear obviously rumours and whispers about other places elsewhere, but for me personally it was kind of, I didn't really want to listen to anything like that. I wanted to just get it sorted here because, well, like I say, as a family we're so settled here and enjoying my football. It didn't make sense to do anything else, so it was just a relatively easy one to get done and sign, and just glad that it's done and can concentrate on the football now.
Yeah, I was going to ask, does it feel a bit like home now? I mean, you've been here 4 years now?
Yeah, this is my 4th year. Yeah, so it starts to feel like that, definitely. You get to know everyone, not even just players but staff in and around the place. You develop bonds with people. Like I say, on the playing side and on the staff and even just in and around where I live, seeing fans here and there, and there would be a few people that you end up seeing in and around the place, and they're all really really friendly. It's not, so it does start to feel like home.
Yeah, bet you sat there and went 14 goals, 10 assists. Let's have a chat. What are we doing?
No, not me. No.
See what this season holds, though.
Yeah, you always want to get better, don't you? So ultimately,
whenever we speak to you, you're never happy with your goal return.
No, I never will be. I don't think. Nah.
Probably a good quality.
I don't think any striker's never happy with that. Because you always look back and think to the missed chances or the one hit the woodwork and think, I could have got a couple more actually, or particularly last year. I mean, people say that it was a decent. I went a lot of games without scoring last season.
House on fire early on.
Yeah, exactly. So I then. I look back and think I would have liked to have got closer to the 20 mark because it started so well. I think I had 10 by the end of November, so I would have, at that point you're looking at, can I get close to 20? So I was never particularly satisfied, but like you say, I think that's a good thing because it means you want to get better, you want to improve, and I think there's no age limit on that. I think you should always be wanting to get better until you finish.
Yeah, that's understandable. What's your best goal, Jukes? Because we were talking before we press record about the Motherwell one. You absolutely zinged it across the, from the angle.
Yeah, that's
got to be up there.
Yeah, like my mate said to me after the game, so you should better retire now because you're not going to bet at that one. Like, you're done now. And I was 20, I think. So I was like, just leave it there. That's it. That was a mad game. Yeah, it was. We were 6-2 down with about 20 minutes to go.
Did you play the whole game?
Yeah, because it was in the 94th, or like basically the last kick of the game as it went in. It was 6-all.
Yeah,
actually did.
So it was mad. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I think it was because I think it was on. Yeah, it was like Man City Tottenham was on the other channel, and like it was a crap game. So like people just started turning over because they'd heard that it was this goal fest. Right. So it ended up quite a few people I knew were watching it.
Probably got you a move that.
Potentially, yeah. No one had watched. They only watched the last 5 minutes of the game. They didn't realise that had a stink of the other end.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was in terms of probably quality or even drama. Maybe that would be up there. But I really genuinely don't actually care whether it's a good goal or not. No, you just want to tally them up. Yeah, they all count one. Yeah. You just think tap into the best ones because they're the ones that you think you can rely on. So. Yeah, it's all. Everyone always wants to score a cracker, but like ultimately, you just want to just get over the line somehow. Yeah.
I've got to go back to your first Blues goal because I actually owe an apology to my downstairs neighbour at the time.
Oh yeah.
I was at uni, and I say it was on Sky Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. And that went in last minute. He must have thought he was slaying you, saying that
Jutkiewicz.
Shouting abuse the entire time. Waiting for the signing.
Yeah, what a bad signing that was.
I think
you'd still have an argument, to be fair.
But yeah, when that went in, bouncing around the living room, she must have thought something was going on upstairs. So I owe an apology now.
So it wasn't that exciting, really, no?
No.
But do you practice headers?
Yeah, I like to, yeah.
Just get lads out to cross balls?
Yeah, like we'll do, me and like Max have started doing that quite a bit. Right. At least once a week we want to go out, like, because days like today, they're physically really tough days. It's a bit of a waste of time going out afterwards because your legs are going to fall off. But on the days where it's a bit less, it's a bit more of a technical day where we'll do a bit of shape or things like that afterwards. You like to do a bit of crossing just so you can get the timing really. That's more than anything. So you don't want to get in too early. You want to be able to sort of attack it with a bit of pace.
Yeah.
But it's always something that I just thought that if I can try and do something well. Then if it's something that other people can't do, it gives you a bit of an edge.
I do think that. I think with young players in particular, the art form of being able to head a ball.
Yeah, they're not interested. It's almost like the mentality, I think.
Yeah.
I think if you want to go and head it, because you look at even people like Christian's really he attacks the ball really well. Steve Seddon, you wouldn't potentially imagine. It's just the mentality. They want to go and head it. They go and attack it rather than just jump and sort
letting
of like,
it hit you.
Exactly. Yeah, but
had you always been good when you was younger? Had you always been that striker or not?
I'd always been like that, but I don't think I was particularly good at heading. It was all before it was just decided that I was like, well, I'm not going to score goals by running away from people, so I need to find a way of scoring.
You can say, but I can't say that.
So yeah.
Just working on it. I heard that, I think Emmanuel Adebayor used to tie a ball on a string, on what would be like a lamppost or something, and shorten the string to get his spring better.
Really?
So when he'd try and head the ball, once he got to that sort of length, he'd shorten the string so his spring would get better and he could head the ball at its height.
Yeah, that's not bad. That.
So if you're struggling,
have to look at
not that you are.
Find a lamppost at the train.
If you see Lukas Jutkiewicz jumping at a lamppost round by you. You know what it's for. One question that the lads actually, the staff here wanted me to ask you was, did you get a Nissan Juke because it'd be good banter, or did you like the car?
I definitely don't have good banter. It was actually my wife's, I shouldn't really say this because it was her old job that she get discount on it. She doesn't work for that, but she still got the discount. But sorry, Nissan, if you're listening.
I'm sure they're not.
Yeah, well, we might get a sponsor out of this if we do it properly. Buy a Nissan Juke.
Fantastic.
I think so she got a discount, so it was basically just me being really tight. I just thought, I can get something for nice and cheap.
It didn't cross your mind when you thought about it? Come on.
She did when she got it. She said, "Do you mind me getting this?" I know it's a bit cringe. And I said, "Yeah, I was buzzing." But no, even the chief executive, even Don said that to me. He said, "Like, I can't believe you do not get like some sort of sponsorship. I would have sorted that out for you."
Yeah,
so maybe missed the trick there.
Yeah, I think you have. Personalised reg, all that. Duke.
Let's go full Duke.
Yeah, I think you have, mate. Right, well, I think that brings to an end quite a nice little chat with you, pal.
Is that us, yeah?
Yeah, I think that would be us. Good luck for Saturday.
Nice one, mate. Yeah,
I want to see that away end going, because we take a great following.
To be fair, we take a good following everywhere, don't we, really? But yeah, Forest, I remember it was a good one actually last year, because the goal was that end, exactly. It was going mad.
Yeah.
Need another goal of the season contender.
Yeah,
that close last season.
I was that close to a few things. I was. It was like
everyone. They sort of gave you a mention.
I was so embarrassed with that. It's a nice touch, but I was thinking like, I just kept getting pats on the back, sort of like ruffles of the hair. Like, well done, mate. You didn't quite get anything. Yeah. Well done for not quite being as good as you. But it's all right. Someone says, your header can't win a goal this season. Why not? No, that was a volley. That would have won it.
Oh, mate, 100%.
But never mind.
I think it was your favourite. I think it was
the header. Yeah, the header was my shot.
I'm not bitter about it.
Which one won it?
Shay's clean sweep, wasn't it? He won everything.
Yeah, Swansea.
Yeah. It was a good strike, though.
Oh, it was a great strike. I'm never going to begrudge Shay. He carried us last year.
Yeah,
so.
No, it was a good strike, but I'll just take any goal from you, mate. So.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Actually, I think that a couple of years before, away at Forest, I think I scored one with like my shoulder or something like that. So I'll take that again.
A good place to play. Do you enjoy it very, very briefly?
Go on.
Certain stadiums to play at? Do you tend to play well?
Yeah, I always. Yeah, I quite teams as well. Yeah, like I always like Derby Stadium. I always quite like to play there. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, but Forest was up there. Really enjoyed playing that one.
Just the East Midlands, mate. Goal machine.
Yeah,
over there.
exactly. Yeah.
I hate you in the East Midlands. Sick of the sight of Lukas Jutkiewicz scoring against them. No, thank you very much, man. All the best.
No, pleasure. Cheers.
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
I refuse to accept that Nissan Juke shout wasn't deliberate. I'm not having it. It's too obvious.
Tried to blame the missus, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not having that.
And to suggest that he didn't even cross his mind.
It's the first thing. Whenever anyone sees Jukey's car, it's the first thing they clock. And the first time I met the man, I was like, oh, Juke. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, no, what a guy. Yeah, fantastic ambassador for the football club. As you can, you listen to him doing his badges, so maybe still a future in the club after he's playing, but I think I was fair in pointing out that he could probably go on for another 20 years given the way he plays.
Questioning his pace, I mean, it's shocking from you.
I think he knew himself in the back of his mind what I was getting at, but now he's great, and I hope he has a fantastic season again. 14 goals, 10 assists last year, one hell of a season for him, but knowing how hungry he is, and we spoke about the fact that he's never happy, he'll want to go one better this season. So, and you have to have that mentality as a striker and as a professional footballer. So yeah, hopefully we see more Duke back post headers, goals, tap-ins, free kicks, penalties, whatever he wants.
What a servant to the club, by the way. He's just closing in on 125 appearances. Been here for 4 years. I think we picked him up on deadline day, didn't we, on loan from Burnley to start with. Made that permanent. What a decision that was. Yeah, £1 million. Yeah,
£1 million.
Bargain.
What you get from him, I mean, you can guarantee on a Saturday, on a Tuesday, cold, rain, sun, what you're going to get from Lukas Jutkiewicz. And so, complete commitment, dedication to what he does. Great character off the pitch. Like I say, glowing terms from us at Blues TV. And credit to him, if we get zipped 4-5-0 at any stage this season, I can put my head in the dressing room, kindly ask him to do it, and he won't be happy about it, but he always appreciates that we have a job to do, and for me, that's worth its weight in gold.
What a man. Right, let's touch then on Forest's summer recruitment. Obviously, a new man at the helm and a change of dugout, bizarrely.
Yeah, well, I'd love to know what the thinking was behind. Is it a superstitious thing?
I think he wanted to be closer to his defence.
So wait, so they haven't moved sides of the pitch. They've just
away
swapped
dugout, home and away, swapped.
Dugout.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. I don't know if there's a difference in size or whatever it was. Or...
I mean, fair play to him. That kind of micromanagement, that obsession with the finer details.
I'll be honest with you. Is it going to win them a game on a set? I'd love what actual tangible impact.
Get some stats on how that's worked.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like we say, we talked about their recruitment. We touched upon the players that they've brought in. So I was just having a little look actually at some of the players that have actually been linked with Blues. Rafa Mir, of course, from Wolves, was brought in.
John Bostock,
a player from a few windows ago, who's obviously linked heavily with Blues. Albert Adoma, who's no stranger to any Blues supporters, having played for that lot. Sammy Amiobi, who tends to have a good game against Blues, not a bad player when he was at Bolton. Cole Jenkinson, former Birmingham City player as well, indeed. Signed for a couple mil. So some familiar names in there, steady Championship players. But then you've also got the unknown quantities, a couple of Portuguese players from Benfica, Sambasso from Dynamo Moscow, Spanish player in Chema from Levante. So there's players that we won't know about. A bit like Blues, actually. They might look at the Blues squad and look at Sunjic and Villalba and Crowley to an extent. So yeah, should be a good matchup. They played 4-1-4-1, which is interesting. With Graben as a lone striker against West Brom on the opening day. They obviously rested a few during the week in their cup game. But I think the one area of the pitch that Blues can get at Nottingham Forest is down our left-hand side and their right. They're playing Matty Cash as a fullback. And I remember seeing him against Blues and he wasn't playing he was more of an attack-minded player. So if he leaves Dawson a little bit exposed, it'd be interesting to see how they deal with that. As we already said, Lolly will be their main threat. Graben, he can score goals at this level. Adoma on one wing as well. So bring it on. Let's see what happens.
Bit of an experienced head at the back, Michael Dawson. Closing in on 36, I think now. Obviously,
right?
ex-Spurs in England.
Yeah. Played at the very highest level. How many years he's got left in those legs is the thing. You want to get players zipping around those ankles of his and making life difficult. Worrell alongside him, steady Championship player. So there will be opportunities there for Blues. And I think what was evident probably in the Bristol City, more the Brentford game actually, we're not abandoning everything that was good about Blues last year. That gritty, steely, well organised, well drilled, defensive aspect to us. We haven't abandoned it at all. We're trying to keep that and then add the little bits of magic to it and get us playing. I think it's more when we're on the ball, can we look after it a little bit better? And I think that's what we saw against Bristol City. So we need to defend well whenever you go away from home. Make sure that you're not out the game after 45 minutes. And then can we go and nick one? Can we... I think of that Lukas Jutkiewicz goal. It actually comes from a counter attack. Jack Magoma runs after them for the pitch and delivers the cross. So, can we defend well? And when we get those opportunities, can the Duke, Crowley, Villalba, whoever plays on the other wing, maybe we'll see Alvaro Jimenez at some stage. I know a few supporters have asked questions about him. Can those players do the damage in the final third?
Becoming a bit of a bogey ground for us, and at the City ground, 1 win in 7.
Yeah, we just had a look, didn't we, at the record. Last win at the City Ground, December 2014. Clayton Donaldson at the double and David Cottrell.
Blues TV zone.
Yeah, scoring the goals. Britta Sambalonga getting a consolation, but yeah, one in 7. So a few draws along the way as well. Whether this group of players pay much attention to it, I don't know. The Duke obviously said he enjoys playing at particular grounds. Well, go and score again on Saturday, and yeah, we'll be well on our way. But yeah, I'm not sure that Pep or any of the players would take much notice of it. But it'd be nice for us to go, especially given the following that we get there.
Yeah,
an hour down the road.
We always take a crowd. An
hour across the Midlands, great city to go and have a drink in the city centre, have a walk to the stadium as a supporter. So we take a fantastic rowdy crowd, so it'd be nice to send them back home with something to cheer. So let's see what happens.
One man who will be aiming to get on the score sheet, get his first Birmingham City goal, is one of our new summer signings. Dan Crowley came in almost, like I said about Blues earlier, a bit of an unknown quantity on these shores. Went to Holland, did very well over there. Of course, highly rated at Arsenal and Aston Villa as a youth player. He's looked good so far. Yeah, he has. You know, you look at Dan and he's 5'0" and bags full of talent and potential in those boots. That low centre of gravity, he can twist and turn away from more lumbersome players. He's got such a footballing brain. Looks to play those little disguise balls round the corner and hide little passes. Picks up a lovely positional sense as well in the pocket ahead of the back four and in behind their midfield. So if you can get him on the ball, he can do some real damage. But he's the sort of player that you have to find, because if not, you may as well play with 10 men, because it's not his game to start sitting in there alongside David Davis and Ivan Sunjic and breaking up play. You have to make sure that when you get those sort of players who play the little 10 role, you have to involve them. And I think we have, certainly at Bristol City, obviously at Brentford's a little different, but at Bristol City, we got him on the ball in a few occasions and he linked up well. A player who, again, highly rated as a young player. You mentioned the clubs he was at, and Arsenal paying money for him as a young lad. The expectation levels for him to go and do something didn't quite work, but I think he's matured in all the interviews that I've heard since he joined the club. He's probably had to realise what it means to be a professional and the dedication that comes with it. And he said it's not just about, I think it's his own words, it's not just about talent being a professional footballer. And I think with age, he's probably realising that. So if you can get that ability and natural talent, couple it with and marry it with a bit of hard work as well in this Blues team, and sorry to digress a little bit, the core of this squad will demand that from him. So if you can couple those together, got one hell of a player on your hands. Well, it wouldn't be right for a new signing to come into this club without facing the proper initiation ceremony, taking on the Quickfire Questions.
The Blues Talk Podcast.
Mr. Dan Crowley, what music do you listen to before a game?
Bit of everything really, whatever's on the speakers. I'm not really designated DJ, so yeah, I'll take anything.
Snapchat story or Instagram story?
You know what? Neither really. I'm not really that active on social media, if I'm honest.
Not bothered. Favourite restaurant to eat at?
Nando's.
Solid effort. Your karaoke song or initiation song?
Mine was Let Me Love You by Mario.
Which country produces the best food? It's like Italian, Mexican, American.
Well, I always have pasta, and when I was in Holland, I ate a Vapiano every week. So I would. It's my go-to. It's not my favourite, but it's my go-to.
Have you got a middle name?
Patrick.
It's not going to get you bullied, is it?
No.
Ideal holiday destination?
I want to go to Mykonos and Santorini.
Have you met your sporting hero, and who is it?
No, I haven't. I love Messi, Ronaldo obviously, but no, I haven't met.
What instruction do you give to the barbers when they ask how do you want your hair done?
Not too high.
Low fade?
Yeah, because one barber messed up my trim in Holland.
Is there any pictures of it?
Nah, it's still recovering to this day.
What's your cheap meal?
I like a curry.
One person, dead or alive, you'd want to invite round to dinner?
Oh, that's a good one. I think Ronaldo, just to listen to him.
Can you speak another language?
No.
Get on the Spanish lessons. Which Hollywood actor would you choose to play yourself in a movie?
Oh. Well, I got told I look like Matt Damon when I was younger, but
I suppose it'd have to be him.
yeah.
If the whole squad had a Royal Rumble, who would be left in the ring at the end? Everyone had it off. Who's the last man
There's
standing?
a few tough cookies, I think. Do you know what? I'm looking at Jeffrey.
Okay.
And he just looks like you don't want to mess with him. He's small and he's just always got the same face.
Rapid.
Ivan doesn't mess about, and then obviously the big lads at the back.
Fair. Have you got any tattoos, and what are they?
No tattoos.
What type of student were you at school?
The bad student.
Were you the class clown or the naughty kid?
No, I just wasn't interested. I just didn't listen or do anything.
What's the strangest thing you've eaten?
Not a lot, really. Like oysters and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
quite strange.
Yeah. Worst item of clothing you've ever worn? What horrendous gear have you had? Looking back.
I back my dress sense, so none.
What's the best way to eat chicken? So what part of the chicken? You a breast, wing,
leg.
finger man, and how do you have it flavoured?
Wings, medium.
Wings?
Wings, yeah.
Medium wings.
From Nando's.
Okay. And finally, last two actually, what are your thoughts on fishing?
No, not interested.
Bore off. And have you ever read a book cover to cover?
No.
Dan Crowley, thank you very much.
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
Dan Crowley taking on the Quickfire Questions. First of the new signings to do so. Set a very high bar.
Yeah, it's always interesting to listen to some of the answers these players give. Ever read a book cover to cover? No. Cheers, Dan.
Nice one. We'll make something of it. Listen, we're on the road on Saturday, but back on home soil on Tuesday. If you can't make it to the ground to take on Barnsley, it is, of course, available as pay-per-view on Blues TV. I think we should put out an apology here. Of course, Brentford unable to stream despite our best efforts.
Yeah. Frustrating for us. I know supporters sitting at home would be just losing their head trying to get onto Blues TV.
As would I.
Yeah, 100%. And frustrating for us as well because we're there broadcasting as if we're live. Me and Tatey were commentating for the game. But I think it was, on this occasion in particular, it was something that was out of our hands. And I know it's not what supporters want to hear. I get it, because you've paid your money, you expect to see the game. And there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse for me than I'm trying to watch something that you get the wheel of death and it's lagging and it's not.
Yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah, but let alone not having a stream at all. So absolutely full right to be annoyed and frustrated with it. But Brentford notoriously has been a stadium we've struggled at just for connectivity and technical issues, but it was one that was out of our hands. I'm not throwing any other companies under the bus by any means, but we done all we could from our end, and there's nothing we could have done to have corrected it. So on that occasion, it's one of those, we have to hold your hands up, apologise, but we know, especially last season, we got to a stage where Blues TV was streaming regularly games of 3 and 4 camera streams, productions, a regular, consistent, stable stream. And so we'll look to add to that again this season, so stick with us. I know it's not great. I mean, the first game of the season, away from home, we win the game. Everyone wants to watch it. It couldn't have gone worse for us as well.
You couldn't write it.
So stick with us, and we'll get there. And hopefully Barnsley, Forest in the next couple of days will bring streams to you of winning Blues games.
Well, if you can't make it to St Andrew's Trillion Trophy Stadium on Tuesday, do give it a try. Blues TV, £10 pay-per-view fee, or treat yourself to a monthly subscription. Of course, you can access all of our matches from noon the next working day.
Callum, prediction for Forest?
Tell you what, I fancy us. We've been on a bit of a run, as I said there. We've looked good so far this season. The stars, Dale, are aligned. 2-1 Blues.
You fancy 7 points from a possible 9?
Absolutely. Why not? Let's aim high.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be one hell of a start when you consider the quality of the opposition as well. I know there's no easy games, but Forest, Brentford, Bristol City, all very capable championship teams. I'd love for us to nick it. Love for us. Again, I can see it being quite a tight one, similar to the Bristol City game, but maybe a little bit of Villalba magic to decide the game.
Sunjic, fancy him to get one?
You know what? We haven't really spoke about Ivan Sunjic, considering we apparently paid decent money for him and the calibre of player, under 21.
And the hype around him as well.
Under 21 Croatian captain. What I loved about him at Bristol was how easy. I think Tats said, he makes the game look so easy. And David Davis's post-match comments saying that he makes it easier for Digger because he turned in a performance of the ages. I mean, he looked like the player pre-injury that won Player of the Season or got all those fantastic...
Xavi.
Yeah, he was spraying passes and love his awareness. Whenever the ball drops to him and it looks like it's going to be a fighting ball or it's going to be a 50-50, he'll pop it off to a teammate rather than just hacking it and hoofing it away. There's a neat and tidy player there, and his hair alone deserves it. Means that he should be in the starting 11.
Well, other than the hair, he reminds me a lot of Barry Ferguson in that Premier League season where we finished 9th.
Yeah.
It's the composure, always looking for a pass.
Yeah.
But we've overlooked the big thing, the main aspect of having Ivan Sunjic here. Roy is absolutely loving it. Roy Smiljanic.
Roy has just turned it up his game. Roy has just evolved because as soon as he caught wind that we were bringing our first ever Croatian player into the club, I mean...
he's not spoken English to me in a fortnight.
No,
purely Croatian.
I think he's took Ivan's boots off him, his shirt off him. He's had many pictures with him, black and white ones, colour ones. He's now wearing the same aftershave as Ivan Sunjic. He's
going to go for the hair next, I reckon.
No, we saw a different side to Roy, who's the happiest man. So listen, as long as Ivan's in the team, Roy Smiljanic will be here.
By the way, if you're not already following him on Twitter, go and do so because you'll see some of those pictures.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have that behind-the-scenes look as well from Roy's lens.
The two of them struck it off and we're talking, they're native Croatian. So Roy was buzzing, to be fair to him. So...
maybe we'll get him to the quickfire questions with him in Croatian.
Yeah.
So if you're listening in Croatia, you are in for a treat very shortly.
I hate to think of what some of Roy's answers to quickfire questions would be, but maybe we'll get him on. Maybe we'll get Roy on. We'll see.
We'll make it happen. Right, before we stray any further down that path, I think it's about time we wrap up. First of the new season. Any rust in there, do you reckon?
Yeah, possibly. We just chat a lot of rubbish but we enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing for the past half
we
season.
tend to enjoy it, but yeah, more players hopefully coming up this season. I think what would be quite a good feature for us to do, I don't know if this is talking whilst we're recording, but maybe to announce who our guest's going to be and get some fan questions in.
I think you're right.
Yeah, maybe just get a bit of interaction with our supporters before we do the interviews would be good. There might be things that they want to know that we're not aware of. So, yeah, just keep your eyes peeled across Blues channels, I suppose on social media and Blues TV, and we'll let you know who our next guest will be. Hopefully you can get involved.
All suggestions welcome, of course, as well, at BCFC, Downmoon90, Denning52.
Keep it clean.
Keep it, yeah.
Don't troll me.
You've had a bit of that.
I've had a bit of heat, but I think it's justified.
Well, yeah, we'll leave that there. This has been the first edition of the Blues Talk podcast for the 2019-20 season. We are back in just 2 weeks' time.
The Blues Talk podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.